Morning, folks. Today I'm using the DLC Yaqi. This was Hypnotic Blue. It may be kind of hard to read, but there's 170 grams approximately. Looks like about 6 ounces there. And that's what the soap looks like. It's kind of a just slightly off-white color. It's fairly firm inside the container here, but it's easy to scrape out. I just use a, let me show you. I just use a baby spoon to scoop it out with. That's what I use through all my soaps. And I use, I guess you might say, a healthy heaping baby spoonful, sometimes a little less, but generally that's what I scoop out with, and that's what I whip my lather up with. Plenty of soap when you use that much. In other words, you're giving a good opportunity to succeed in whipping up a lather. And matter of fact, since I'm already talking about it, that's what I got here in my smooth bottom bowl. Got from a thrift store. Paid a whole $1 for it, 99 cents I think it was. Got it whipped up here with a Yaqi brush with a synthetic knot, 24 millimeter. And this soap is the scent is patterned after or similar to or inspired by is the words I think I'm looking for, Polo Blue. So some of the scents you might be picking up with, I got written down here is cucumber, melon, mandarin orange, sage, basil. It's a woodsy musk smell to it. The woodsy, the musk, sage, basil, my nose picks that up pretty well. Yeah, I picked that up without a problem. I do kind of, sort of, slightly pick up the cucumber. The rest of it, my nose is not sophisticated enough to pick it up. But at any rate, I'm going to follow the shave up with the Hega. This is Upsala, I think is how you pronounce it. Anyway, there's 2 versions of this, and I got a link down below for this stuff, as well as the soap and various other items I'm going to talk about today, if you want to check them out. But this one here, I think it's like $8 or $9 for this particular aftershave. This one, you get this one here, and then there's another one that kind of reminds me of Gatorade. But anyway, it's kind of a green color to it. But anyway, there's 2 different versions of it, and it's, to a degree, it's relatively inexpensive. It comes in a plastic container. I'll go ahead and show you now, because it's just one of those things for me. The cap's got one of those posts that comes down into the restrictor, and it has a small restrictor in there. So if that's a point for you, this here might be it's a pretty good aftershave. Let's see here. The scent on this one here is citrus and cedarwood. So I thought this might play well with this particular soap. I like the aftershave. I've got 3 containers total of it. Help put things in perspective how I like it. Shaver of the day. This one here is a gem Micromatic flying wing, sometimes referred to as a bullet tip. That's what it looks like, and that part right there is referred to as a guiding eye. And you kind of see there's what I think is usually referred to as stop hooks there for the blade. I'll show you how this works. It twists it open, twist open. And what I find is really, it's just one of those little things that fascinate me, considering how old this razor is. That cap, if you see it, it actually moves forward. Just awesome. So the blade of the day. These blades are getting harder and harder to find, and they seem to be going up in price by quite a bit. This particular, this Treet Supers, they come with a cardboard backing. So that's what the back looks like, and it's actually, this is part of the cardboard backing. So you tear this out in order to get this box. And these blades here, you can find them, you know, eBay, Amazon, but they're going up in price. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking maybe part of this is because maybe no longer in production, so supply is getting smaller and smaller. This is what it looks like when you get it. It comes wrapped up like this. The wrapper, yeah, it's like that. It just comes, just peel it right on off. Another blade of one of my favorites. Matter of fact, the Treet Super is one of the first blades I found that worked really well for me. It took a moment before I found these. These are these blades here sold in, you know, large quantity here, 100 pack in each container. And as you can tell by the way it's listed here, it's 3-facet. So in other words, you'll run across some other blades that may be referred to as 2-facet. You don't want them. Trust me, you don't want to try to shave with those. 3-facet, and this one here is also Teflon coated. PTFE is the letters that are listed. for me, these blades work better for me. I've tried some of the carbon steel ones, POW. I just can't, they're just not for me. I know some people can shave with them. I can't do it. Those things just tear my face up. Just, no, don't work for me. I've got a link down below if you're interested in looking at buying something like this. I get it through Ted Pelham. I've had these, the 200, they sell them in 200 packs at a time. So in other words, you get 2 boxes. And of course, you know, prices increased over time. So I think the going price is $46.75 for 200 blades. And when you start calculating things out, when you try to buy blades like this, it's not a half bad buy. It's that sticker shock of roughly 50 bucks for 200 blades. But I've had these blades. I've got what's left of this one and a whole 100 pack of another for what, 4 years now. They last me a good moment. And when you start comparing, trying to buy, like for instance, a 100 pack of Treet Supers, you have to buy a lot of these kind of packages. And so a 100 pack could run you 60, 70 bucks. That's just for 100. So in other words, when you start looking further out, you know, putting a pencil to it and thinking about it just a moment, the 200 pack is not a half bad buy. It's just that sticker shock of 50 bucks for blades. But you get 200 and they'll last you a few shaves. And how many shaves do you get out of one of these blades? It just really depends. It really depends on you and your, you know, what you can get out of it. You know, some people may only get a few shaves, some may get quite a few. Just depends, you know, your mileage may vary. Or to put a hot towel to the face this morning, so I'm going to go ahead and wet it and what's left of my pre-shaved cube. What's left of it. Yes, it's getting more, for me, I have to dry my hand off because it's getting so small it's hard to hang on to now. So at some point in time, in the near future, I have a feeling that whatever's left, I may not be able to use it quite like I am right now, at least not with a little bit of effort. Single edge shaving with gym style blades may not be for everyone. Your selection of blades are pretty small. There's not very many manufacturers of these things nowadays. I think Dorco, at least at one point in time, Dorco, by another name as Pace, put out some single edge blades. And I don't know if they still make them or not. I tried those quite some time ago and I can't use them. They're about like the POW carbon steel blades. In other words, as goes for experience, the performance of them with yeah, it just did not work well. In other words, I didn't get through the first pass before I had to change. It's just really rough on my face, not smooth. This is definitely your mileage may vary type situation. Now, if you're looking for something, hopefully here pretty soon, Douglas will have at Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. Last time I looked, he was out of stock, but you can, in other words, buy a smaller quantity of these gym style blades, Teflon coated, I think a 5-pack. Maybe he'll get those back in stock here pretty soon, because I noticed Chris testing out a prototype of stainless steel Starling, and so hopefully maybe he'll get some more in stock. In other words, there's not very many places you can go where, especially if not paying out the nose for like a 5-pack of blades, because in other words, if you're only using it like I am every so often, may not need to buy 200 blades, because like I say, 200 blades, I've had these for about 4 years now and still got plenty left over, so I don't go through a whole bunch of them. But for the occasional shaver, or the person that occasionally uses one of these, smaller quantity sure is nice. If you haven't had any experience with a gym Micromatic, to a degree, some of them are made more or less the same. They are different, but one of the reoccurring themes, if you will, is just shape of this head. And if you come close to basically right that angle right there, basically right in the cap, Your experience will probably be somewhat better because the more you lift, the more aggressive the shave's going to be. So starting out, you might want to ride the cap. You might hear me refer to it as a preset angle. And in other words, what the manufacturer had designed this to be used as. Now for me, of the three, this is my favorite one. It seems to work well for me. I don't find this one as aggressive as the clog proof or the open comb design. That's just me. Some people feel like the clog proof is the shaver that's a little bit more on the milder side. For me, I find this one here to work better for me. In other words, as it goes for being a little bit milder and smoother. But I know mileage may vary definitely on these kind of shavers. If you watch enough videos, you'll have, basically polar opposite opinions and experiences with them. And of course, you also have to take in consideration the blade and the user's experience. In other words, how much experience does a person have using single edge blades? It's a different, there's a little bit of a learning curve. The Gin Micromatic to me is one of the easier ones because the angle is preset, so if you work with it, you might be able to get that shave to work well for you. Some people just can't use them at all, and it has a lot to do, I think, with the blade and of course the user's experience. There's some other gems that are out there that are ever ready. Either one of those, there's some milder ones out there. You just got to hunt for them. I think how you pronounce it is Damascene. Not necessarily the easiest to find, but of all the gem shavers that are out there, that one, from what I understand, is the smoothest, and also a little bit more on the milder side. I have a couple. I have a tendency to agree they are a little bit milder and a little bit easier to use. I just like the Gem Micromatics, and they work well for me. I think because one of the reasons is, like, say, if you ride that cap, it takes out a lot of the guesswork of what angle you should be using. And these things are like bulletproof. This one here, you kind of see that the plating has come off on it. Most of them, they've weathered well over the years, since 1930s. It is something to think about. When you buy these razors, you can buy them like this one here. Not looking too pretty, but they work just fine. It's just plating loss. The rest of this, it works just the way it was designed. I enjoy using them. They're a lot of fun. Using an item that was designed back in the late 20s going into the 1930s. They manufactured a bazillion of them, and they're practically bulletproof. They still work just fine. Pretty nice design, especially for those that didn't like the flip top gem style razors. This one here is a twist to open. It's relatively easy to flop the blade in and snug down the cap, and you're on your way. You can find some of these in cases. Cases vary, whether they're made out of cardboard or Bakelite. Some of the cases are beautiful. And you have to hunt for some of them if you're looking for a particular color. There's one that's kind of sort of a, almost a jade color, a green color, and not the easy one to find. And when you do find one in good shape, you're going to pay for it. They're not cheap, but I do enjoy finding them with the cases. Having that piece of history representation of what folks were experiencing back in those days. To me, I think it's kind of important. You stop and think of what the what a guys went through over the years trying to get a good shave. I know the blades have changed over the years, especially on the single edge. I got some older blades, in other words, vintage blades, used ones, and how they were made. Some of those blades are pretty heavy. You put it in your hand, you really do feel it because the backing is like stainless steel. Nowadays, the backing is, that spine is like aluminum. It's very lightweight. What a guy has went through over the years just trying to get a smooth, comfortable shave. If you look at some of the items that were used over the years, you kind of understand what I'm talking about. They've went through a lot of hoops trying to find something that works well. I know for me, I like the history and behind it, because some of these shavers are quite unique. I guess you might say some of them were kind of sort of gimmicky, maybe. Whatever it took to sell a razor, right? Pretty efficient. Cannot complain about it. I don't think it's, I don't find that the flying wing is aggressive. At least if I'm riding the cap, it seems to work out pretty well for me. A fairly smooth, easygoing shave. Treet Supers, like I say, was the first blade I found that worked well for me, and I just really do like those blades. But they're getting more and more expensive over time. They seem to be harder to find. And like I say, when you start putting a pencil to it, the gem Teflon coated ones to me are better buy dollar-wise, as opposed to trying to buy a 100-pack of the Treet Supers. Oh, and I should mention, most of us, when we see Treet, we think of the blades that are made in Pakistan. And these are actually, back then would be American Safety Razor. So in other words, Persona. And so, matter of fact, there you go, American Safety Razor Company. So these are definitely old stock, because that name, that sort of print has not been used in a good long moment. It has changed somewhat. So, like I say, that might be the reason why they're going up in price, because of the supplies getting smaller. I don't think they're made anymore. So if you're looking for a blade, the gem Teflon coated ones would be the direction to be looking for. Now they do make some that are not Teflon coated. I do find that they shave different. I find that they're not near as smooth and comfortable, at least not for me. Teflon coating on these blades make a world of difference in my experience. Like I say, some can use those carbon steel ones. I can't use them. Those things are rough on my face. All right, Hega. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think one of the things to mention about this one here that I found unique, I think it's got, what's it called, potato starch? It's a unique aftershave. It feels good going on the face. The scent is pleasant. I don't find it off-putting. It smells nice. When it starts to go on the dry down, I'm not sure what I'm smelling. It smells nice to the nose, but I cannot put my finger on what that scent is. Somebody else is watching, they might have a good idea. I had a great shave. I hope everybody is doing well. Stay healthy, stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.